So now what? Oh, you'll be able to. What's her name?
She said Victoria.
This one? You?
There.
How is everyone today?
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing great.
Go.
Yeah. All right, we'll give everyone a few minutes to kind of get on, and then we will get started.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, today is a rainy day, as always.
Oh, where are you at?
Vancouver.
Okay.
Where are you?
I'm over in Ohio. We've had
Oh,
sun and spring all day today, so
lucky you.
it followed the blizzard, so I will take it.
Oh,
Yeah.
hello. Oh. Okay. Well, yeah, I cannot wait. Hi, Izzy. I can't wait to read for some people. Even though
Excited.
I am excited too. Ooh. Oh yeah, it is. I can't wait because it's in 2 days for the launch. And
I'm excited to see how it goes,
me too.
how it comes in.
Yeah, and I have a digital copy of the book.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. And it's so cool to see.
Have you gotten your paperback yet itself, or just the digital?
No,
Oh.
I haven't. There's problems with that. And I just have the digital for now, but I can't wait until I get the in-person real copy.
It's so cool to get your physical copy. And I have a few friends who are actually just got their book published through a completely different publishing, and they are so happy to unpack that box, and they're doing the happy dance, and I'm just like, oh, I love this.
Yeah, because it's your creation, and when you see people create books and you read people's books, you never expect to have your own.
Oh, it's so cool. All right. Do you want to get started now, or do we need to wait a little bit longer?
We can get started soon. We can wait a couple more minutes.
Perfect.
Ah, Noodlehead. Hi. Well, I hope people liked it. It's magical. It adds some spice to life.
Hey, all you need sometimes in the world is a little bit of magic. Just saying.
Yeah. Need some happiness for the rainy day.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Not that bad. It's not pouring.
That's good.
Ooh, thank you. Izzy, I can't wait either.
I love the giddy excitement. I love it. It's so great.
I give the vibes of excitement. Yes, I'm so excited. I can't wait for 2 days to be up. There's so much happening though. Oh, hello, more people.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. So, I'd like to welcome everyone to our ongoing series with Gen Z called the Virtual Author Reading Series. We are here with Miss Isabella, how do you pronounce it? Isabella Strickland, the author of my There and Then and There, Here and Where, which comes out on March 2nd. And this is written by her and her dad, Michael, who could not be here with us today. So I'm going to let Isabella introduce herself just a little bit, and then we will She will read a small section of her book, and then we'll do a mini Q&A. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, absolutely anything, drop it in the chat, and I will read them off to her. So without further ado, go ahead.
So, I am Isabel Stickland, as she said, and this is Then and There, Here and Where. It's kind of a tongue twister, and I'm happy that this is the title because it the cover gives enough of the story. And I wrote it with my dad, who was my scribe, and added a lot of artistic help with it because my ADHD and dyslexia cannot be in check while writing. Is so crazy. It can be hard to write sometimes. So I'm going to read the prologue, which is right here. Okay. Mom, oh my God, you did an amazing job on my costume, I exclaimed as I flapped my arms around like a raven, marveling at the black feathers she had sewn into my bodysuit. I walked out of my bedroom into the hallway where my mom stood, waiting for me. Orabella, I still can't believe you wanted to go as Morgane. She seems so dark, my mom said, walking over to me to adjust my headdress. I had tightly secured on my caramel brown hair. Mom, I already told you, Morgane is a Celtic goddess of birth and death. She's perfect for the Summer Solstice Festival. I pushed away from her and whipped my head around, testing the security of my feathers. Well, you look good with all those feathers, my mom said, backing away from the wild movement. Satisfied that my headdress was still in place, I thought aloud, I hope I don't get hot in the costume because I love it. I think it's more suited for Halloween than a community event, my mom said, eyeing my black face paint and black lipstick. Nah, it's not scary enough, I laughed. I suppose, my mom said, a bit skeptical. So, are you dressed like a Greek warrior? I asked, talking to her sandals and toga dress and her long brown hair pulled into a strapping headband. I am going as Artemis, goddess of light. Cool, you're such a baddie, Mom, my gosh. Mom's cheeks turned red, a shade of red at the compliment. Well, as you know, this summer solstice was originally a celebration of light's triumph over darkness and the bountiful beauty that light brings our lives. So now we get to celebrate the longest day of the year every year. Suddenly, my dad walks out of the bathroom into the hallway, dressed in a tunic, furry cape, a blonde beard, faced hat for his sleeve. I almost laugh out loud at him. Dad, you can't go to the community center like that, I explained, wondering what my friends would think when they saw him. My mom laughed as my dad made some weird poses with his shield. I wanted to look away, but I can't take my eyes off of the silliness. Bella, I'm going as the powerful Dutch god, Woden, Dad said powerfully. Oh my God, you you have to be kidding. Mom, tell him he can't go like that. I won't be able to go to school tomorrow, seriously, I demanded. Mom giggled. Bella, all the other parents will be dressed up too. I don't care, Mom. He looks like a bad version of a Viking. Where did you get that beard? I asked him, incredulous. Picturing it is so funny. I think of Thor,
Yeah.
the fat Thor, specifically. Ignoring my question, Dad says, don't be so self-conscious. It will be so much fun. Well, get to learn about different cultures that celebrate the solstice. He walked down the stairs to the front door with no motion, making any changes to his wardrobe. Oh, God. Okay, let's go. I'm getting over it with this, I said as I rolled my eyes.
Awesome.
There we go.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. All right, for our audience, if you guys have any questions that you would like to ask Miss Isabella, feel free to drop them in the chat. We have some pre-prepared questions for her. The first is, who or what inspired you to become an author?
Well, when I was younger, it was hard for me to read because I'd be self-conscious of my reading. So I'd read in my head, and it could be hard to identify things because things would switch. So my parents would read to me before I'd go to sleep. And I remember my mom reading the Nancy Drew series to me, and I remember imagining it and thinking that I don't think I could ever write something like this, just because it seems so hard. And my dad would read these, um, they're not princess stories, they're like Disney stories, but if someone went back into them, I forgot the series. And then I started reading for myself when I went to the school that helped me with my reading. So I would read Casey's West, Listen to Your Heart, which is a love story, and Giovanni and Tom Fetch's Eve of Man, which I am reading now, and it's a thick book, and I'm proud that I'm reading it because it looks on the community and what the government would be if all of women stopped being born and there was one woman left on Earth because through centuries only men were born. And then Smile when I was younger, and Sisters and Drama. I loved those because they were graphic novels, and which is what inspired me to write, and which is what inspired me to draw and think of animation and film.
Awesome. We have a question from Izzy_MCG that asks, what was the best part of making this book?
Probably connecting with my dad and being able to meet so many new people and learning resources and things that I probably wouldn't have learned if I didn't write it.
Awesome. Your next question, who are some of your biggest literary influences?
Probably Casey West and Brianna Cheltenmeer, because they're the ones that really set it off. And Nancy Drew, the writer of Nancy Drew, definitely, because, like I said, my mom would read to me.
I grew up reading them. My daycare had them, so I would just read them all the time. Absolutely loved that series. So, your next question. Many people think that being an author is too time-consuming, or they just don't have the time to write. Can you talk a little bit about how you balance your personal life with being an author and like your time commitment to being a writer as well as the editing and publishing process?
For my careers day, I interviewed an author, and she said that writing in the morning is the best time because you're starting with a clear head. And I think taking that into consideration, starting with that, considering I do have school and I do have other activities, I try and write after those times or when I can, or when I'm with my dad, who puts in the work and time when I'm at school and I can't really. I'm learning to get my high school degree so I can have a job.
Awesome. All right. Bird on a Wire Art asks, will you be writing another book, like a sequel?
That is my mom, I think. Yeah, yes, we're halfway through, yeah.
Awesome. I know you touched a little bit about bonding with your dad through this process, but what did you learn about yourself, maybe even your relationship with your dad, during this writing and publishing process?
Well, it has taken a very long time for story development, as you can imagine. And that it can be really, really hard to cut down on the things that you think are valid to the storyline and that really have connection to you. So, yes, I did realize that I do have the ability to do things that I didn't think I could do, and that I need to have faith in myself that I can do them. And that my dad and I work best together when we are both in a good mood, obviously. We both have to eat.
What was the hardest or most challenging part of this entire process, and how did you get through it?
Like I said, it would be cutting down what we thought was most important. Because the book was really, really, really long before. It was really long. There was so much that needed to be put out that wasn't valid enough to the storyline to be in the book, but had a personal touch for us, like some part or scenes and chapters that just seemed like they needed to stay because you put the work into it, you see, and you think that this is how the storyline would go in your mind in the first edit of it, but you just can't. Even though all that work, you need to cut down, get the finished product that is readable.
Makes sense. This is kind of a, I guess, premonition, no question, since your book is not out yet. Are you going to look up reviews of your book, or are you just kind of gonna be like, all right, it's out, I don't need to like stress about these, that kind of thing? Or have you even seen any of like the advanced copy reviews, if those exist? Because I don't know, but yeah.
We have had a couple people read it, and they're all been good reviews. But if I do get reviews on the book, I will look at them, but I'm not gonna take the bad ones personally because they are based off of other people's opinion of what I have written. And people can have different opinions about everybody. Someone is gonna think something negative about you, no matter who you are or what you do. And so that's just the harsh reality of that, and I can't take that into consideration. I just need to trust what I know and what I love.
I love that answer. We have a question from Izzy_MCG. How long did it take to make the book?
Many years, around 5.
Wow. Is that like
Yeah,
on and off, or like 5 years of just steady working on it?
it was on and off at first, and then steady working through people who didn't work with the book or weren't really part of our team. But then we finally found the right people. We finally found the right publishing house. We found the right people to support this. So it took a long time, and my dad and I were inspired by people who needed to have strength and who just needed some hope in your life.
For any authors, young authors watching, aspiring authors, what would be your biggest tip of advice for them?
It would right in the morning if I am passing on information, because that 20 minutes is a very good gap.
Yep.
And things can be so hard, and you can get shut down so many times, like in the film industry and the acting business. It can be really, really hard on your ego. And it can be really, really hard on yourself and your mental health. But not giving up and having the hope in yourself that you are doing something amazing, and that one day people will look at you and think, wow, I don't think I could do that. Even though that they have the hope and inspiration that you are showing them to try.
We have some comments rolling in here. Bird on a Wire Art says she is so proud of you. Noodlehead Productions says great attitude. Izzy_MCG says so cool with some hearts. Industry other underscore Rock says your friends at Industry Rock are so proud of you. You're amazing. Lavishly asks if you could go back and change anything, would you? And what would you change in regards to the book?
That is a hard question.
Shout out to Selena for asking the hard questions.
Well, I would say the process of having faith with the people we did, not that we had to try with a bunch of people and see if we fit. But writing took a really long time, and not cutting down in the moment of what was valid could have saved a lot of time, but it wouldn't have come out the same as it has now. And think I added people whom I took inspiration from around me, which reflects on their character. So some people were valid, and it does reflect on that. But I feel like I could have added more of a little bit of everyone.
Awesome. All right, unless if anyone has any final questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If not, my final question for you is, what do you say to either aspiring authors or readers with disabilities such as ADHD, dyslexia, anxiety? What advice would you give them to get into this comfortable, confident zone where you are not only writing a book, but you've gotten it published and now you are on a live Instagram stream answering questions? What are kind of your, I guess, pro tips from someone who has kind of found a way to fulfill your own dreams, even if it wasn't in a, I don't want to say non-traditional way, but even though you had things kind of to not necessarily overcome, but you did have some outside barriers in that process?
Well, not yet. They're not necessarily overcoming. There are challenges that can add strength and weakness to it. For people with ADHD, I would say try and hyper-focus, because then you can go hours with writing and coming up with ideas. But that takes a specific mindset. And if you have anxiety with that, it's having that hope within yourself that you can do it. And even if you do get shut down, it's not that it was bad, it's that it just wasn't a good fit for them. And it doesn't mean it's not a good fit for anyone else. And that people with dyslexia, just because it's hard in the moment, you can overcome that with so many tools.
Do you have a specific favorite tool, or like what were some of the tools you used to help with that?
Well, I would do for bed because I'd mix my B's and D's up, and L's because I'd mix up my left and right. And little tools for anxiety too, like tapping, really help. And grounding yourself, which my dad and mom have always brought up for many years, did help me a lot, because sometimes I feel like I'm floating when I'm overwhelmed with the amount of work I do have. So these are some tools that I feel like would be very helpful.
We have a question from Noodlehead Productions asking if the book will be made into a film.
It's in a film writing festival right now, and if we do win that, we get funding for that. So if that does happen, my God, will there definitely be a movie 100%, and I would love to be part of that process.
Izzy_MCG asks, what was your favorite part of making the book? And she is so proud of you.
Aw, thanks, Izzy. You have been a great supporter, and you're amazing, by the way. I love your hat. But these are hard questions, guys. It would probably be the connection of all of what I have now, and that it's all now on a book. And now people can see all of my inspiration and all of what I have worked hard on with my dad for so many
years. If anyone has any final questions, feel free to drop them in the chat as we get ready to wrap up a little bit. A reminder, her book comes out on March 2nd. Do you want to tell everyone where you can buy it?
You can get it on Amazon for a digital copy, and you can look on my website for the other links too, which I think is in the Instagram.
Yes, I believe so. And we will also have, this will be uploaded to YouTube with once all of our purchase links are live of pretty much everywhere you can go and buy this book. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Isabella, and doing this reading.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
Yeah. So, all right, we are good to go.
Bye.
Bye.